Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 13 and compare it against the iPhone 11 Pro Max and see which particular phone is a better one for you. Now, the thing I can definitely tell you is that when it comes down to both of these particular phones, they're both very good, right? I like them both, but if I'm going to pick up one, it's probably going to be something like the newer one, but maybe neither one of these phones are the first ones I'd recommend buying. So we'll take a look at it throughout this whole entire video. First things first, if you do want to go ahead and pick up either one of these particular phones though, links will be down in the description below. You can get that from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these particular phones. The iPhone 11 Pro Max originally came out in 2019. So this phone is basically giving you a 6.5-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. And this is a pretty good looking panel for the most part. You know, Apple did a really good job with these types of screens. And I would imagine still in a majority of ways that these types of displays still hold up fairly well. So they're 60 Hz, nothing crazy, but they're still giving you a pretty bright panel. You are getting like a good layout for the most part as well. So I will tell you, there's not really anything like super crazy or super terrible going on with a phone like this. I still think that type of panel still looks good, but I would imagine that if you're going to go through and get a different type of display or getting a different type of device, it might make more sense to go and buy something possibly like, a newer phone with ProMotion. But I still look at something like an iPhone 11 Pro Max, and I do like the size of this type of display. I do like the way it looks, and I do think if you're going to go through and get a panel, this thing still looks pretty good for the most part. Not amazing, but it gets the job done. With something like the iPhone 13, this particular phone is going to be giving us a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. So this type of panel is a little bit different. The thing you're going to have to remember with the iPhone 13 is that this one is a little bit of a smaller type of device, which personally for me, I think is totally okay. Buying a phone like this that's going to be giving us that type of capability, I think is going to be very good. And I definitely do like buying a phone like this that's going to be giving us this type of power, this type of, capability all throughout. And I do think that is kind of a nice thing going on for this type of phone when it comes down to it. So the iPhone 13 is giving you a smaller size display. And I would say that the panel itself might be better. Like it is kind of giving you like a really good type of layout for the most part. So I definitely do think getting a phone like this at that caliber is actually really nice. Is it perfect? Probably not. But I think for the most part, if you're going to go through and pick up really any phone, you're probably going to be getting a good type of experience from both of these, but the iPhone 13 might be the one giving you a tiny bit better of an experience here and there. Now, on top of that, when it comes down to the capability beyond these two phones, one other thing you're going to have to remember is that with something like the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 11 Pro Max, they're both giving you lightning ports at the bottom, which is always good. The iPhone 13 is giving you flat sides, which is also very, very good to have. I love having flat sides in a phone, and you're getting that on the iPhone 13. It's just much more modern. The iPhone 11 Pro Max also is basically going to be able to go through and give you a frosted glass back, which is a very nice thing to have. Getting a frosted glass back inside of a phone is such a nice little twist, and I love having that type of capability inside of that type of device. It really adds that much more character into a phone. It makes things feel and look so much better. So definitely, without a doubt, I'm a really big fan of that type of device when it comes down to it from that particular standpoint. Now, beyond that, you're getting your camera system on the back, which we'll talk about in a second. You're getting wireless charging on both. The iPhone 13 does give you MagSafe capability, which is really nice. But beyond that, you're not really getting anything like super crazy or super insane on both because they're a little bit outdated. But I still like the way both these phones feel and look. And I think that right there is still a really nice thing going on for both these phones. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there for the most part. Now, one other thing to keep in mind here is with the cameras. So like I mentioned, with the camera between both of these phones, the iPhone 11 Pro Max is giving you this triple camera setup. So I personally love having a triple camera setup, and that right there is a very, very nice thing to have. With the iPhone 13, this one's going to be giving you a dual camera setup. So this one's going to be a little bit of a difference here because that type of device is basically going to be giving you a little bit of like a smaller, it's going to be giving you a different type of lens because it is missing the telephoto lens. But I would still say, even though the iPhone 11 Pro Max has more cameras, I would say that the iPhone 13 possibly is still the better type of camera here for the most part. And the reason for that, and that might sound backwards, But the reason for that and why I think that is because with something like the iPhone 13, this camera, even though it's the same megapixel count and same resolutions you can film in, it looks like to me it's going to be giving you the overall better type of experience. It feels like that is like the overall better type of camera. And I feel like if you are going to go through and pick up a certain type of camera, that one is going to make a lot more sense to go and buy, quite possibly more so than these other ones. So again, it might not be like the biggest deal in the world, but depending on who you are, you might be able to go through and pick up a device like that and get a little bit of a better type of camera system when it comes down to it from that side. So again, from that particular situation, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but it could just be another one of those little tiny things to kind of run into there. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there as well. Now, on top of that, another thing to keep in mind here too, is that between both these phones, they're both still giving you software updates. So they're both still supported with software and nothing is really going on there. So that's still really nice to be able to go through and buy a phone that is going to be giving you software updates, right? I definitely do like that, and you're definitely going to be getting that here inside of these types of phones. But the iPhone 13 is pretty much going to last longer than the iPhone 11 Pro Max by at least like 2 years. There's a very high chance the iPhone 13 is going to last for quite a bit of time, probably another 2 years on top of the 11 Pro Max. So if you are wanting the phone that is going to last longer, you're probably going to have to take a look at something like an iPhone 13 Pro Max when it kind of comes down to it. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there too. And when it comes down to the performance, this is another one of those really big things to keep in mind here as well. The iPhone 11 Pro Max is giving you the Apple A13 Bionic chip inside with 4 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 13 is giving you the Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM as well. So once again, if you are wanting the phone that is going to be giving you the faster type of experience, you are probably going to have to take a look at something like an iPhone 13, right? The iPhone 13 is going to be the one that's going to be giving you a better chipset, better capability, better quality, basically everything across the board on the iPhone 11 Pro Max is just not going to be as fast and not going to be as capable. But that's not to say that the iPhone 13 Pro Max or the 11 Pro Max is a bad phone or that it's not good or anything like that. That phone, I think, is still a very good, very fast type of device. But I just think there's probably better types of phones out there that make more sense to go and buy rather than, the iPhone 11 Pro Max. And that's why I think the iPhone 13 could end up being like a pretty good fast phone to kind of buy from that standpoint. Because I feel like you're probably going to be able to get like a pretty good capable phone from that particular device, from that particular situation when it kind of comes down to it. So in my personal opinion, when it kind of comes down to it all, what I definitely will tell you is that a device like the iPhone 13, I think it's a pretty good phone. If you're going to go through and pick up a device, I think it does make a lot of sense to go through and buy a device like that because it's a good, fast, capable phone. But I say that, and I would probably say that a device like the iPhone 13, the iPhone 11 Pro Max, there's a lot more better devices to go and buy rather than these two even. I think a 13 Pro would be a really good phone to buy. If you're in the market and you're able to go through and buy another device, I think it would make a lot of sense to go through and buy something like an iPhone 13 Pro or an iPhone 14 Pro. But still to this day, I think the iPhone 13 is still good too. And I would recommend buying that type of device as well. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.